Hello, welcome back to the channel. We're back with checking on the Pioneer format with a recently, or let's say, an ongoing tournament that is the Japan-Korea Regional Championships Final. That is for Cycle 3, and I've extracted one of the top 8 decks in the day 2 of that event, and which is called this one as the Abzan Greasefang. I think there were two archetypes of this kind that was finished, and in comparison to mostly the Rakdos mid-range metagame, this deck has proven to be more efficient in dealing with those with a proven record and basically qualifying for the top 8. So we're going to do just a quick breakdown on what this strategy is and their potential sideboard. Now we know that I'm really more of biased in terms of being innovative because of the Japanese players, and because of this build I've decided to share with you guys what would be their innovation in terms of having not only just typical Abzan Greasefang deck when how they would handle the hate or core side of the sideboard plan against most other top tier decks in Pioneer format. So a quick breakdown of the cards. We have 9 artifacts, cleared creatures, 2 enchantments for instant. We have 21 lands, 2 planeswalkers, and 9 sorcery, and of course 15 on the sideboard. Now, just a quick breakdown on why it's called the Greasefang deck. We'll check on the ability of Greasefang Okiba Boss. So this is a 3 cost 4/3 at the beginning of combat. In return, your turn target vehicle card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste and return it to its owner's hand at the beginning of your next end step. So what this would really abuse is that you can basically discard all your vehicles, cast Greasefang on turn 3, and then activate the card bind of trigger its ability at the beginning of combat to get your vehicles. Now, for the relevant vehicles that we have in this list are 4 copies of Isaka's Chariot. We have also 4 copies of this one, Parhelion 2. This is Commander version, but originally this is from War of the Spark, and 1 copy of Sky Sovereign console flagship. The best way to be able to go with this play is to return a Parhelion wherein you can only crew 4. So given that Greasefang is basically having a 4 power, you can basically return Parhelion to the battlefield, have this trigger activating it by crewing 4, and then whenever it attacks, you will create 2/4/4 White Angel clear tokens with flying and vigilance that are also attacking. That's basically taking a huge chunk of life total from out of your opponent, because these are mostly flyers, and given that the Parhelion is a 5/5 first strike in flying, this basically has no way for your opponents to deal with in terms of creatures blocking it. So only the way that would go with defeating this deck is to remove Parhelion from the graveyard, or have Greasefang triggers prevented before the trigger would happen. So there are also ways to remove those, but we won't really dwell on those much up. But we would know how the deck would rotate or play around despite those hate or sideboard plans against them. So if you're ever to go with that, you can just basically ramp up with just conniving with these creatures. For instance, we have 4 copies of Raffin's Informant. You just connive, you discard your vehicle, and then use Greasefang on turn 3. You have also this option with the Satyr Wayfinder to cast 1/1 Satyr, reveal the top 4 cards library, and then put an land card from among them in your hand and the rest in your graveyard. This is to make sure that you can get your third land drop for your Greasefang. And also we have 1 copy of Scrapbook Mat. This is also sort of a discard effect. Whenever you discard a card, if you do draw a card, and that's also another option in the late game. So again, 4 copies of Greasefang Okiba Boss in the main, and a lone copy of Shoulder Apocalypse. This is more of a backup plan in case that the initial Greasefang strategy would be prevented by your opponent. And again, this is sort of a tech from the Japanese players, as they included Gurmag Angler as that's a lone copy here, but with ways to fill up your graveyard, you can basically deal this one for at least a cheaper mana and have a threat that is a 5/5 creature in as early as possible, despite for them to prevent them from dealing with your main strategy of Greasefang. The other ways to fill up your graveyard is to have 4 copies of Grixis Salvage. You can see here that you can just put the top 5 cards of the library, put a creature, or land card from them in your hand and the rest to your graveyard, and also 2 copies of Best of Nothing Sea. This is also an enchantment that you may just pay 1 and green, sacrifice it, reveal the top cards to your library, and then put an artifact, creature, enchantment, land, and planeswalker card from among them into your hand, and put the rest into your graveyard. Now for this setup, there are also ways that you would also disrupt your opponent. This is in the form of Liliana of the Veil, which is also a good discard outlet. It's also a spot removal in the save because of the sacrifice effects, and 4 copies of Thoughtseize. So Thoughtseize will also make sure that you're open option, or you can deal with an opponent's threat before they could be able to take out Greasefang, and you will be able to successfully return a vehicle on your 3rd turn. And that's also effect. You also have 2 copies of Can't Stay Away. You can also use this one to return the creature card with mana value 3 or less from graveyard to battlefield. It gains if a creature would die, exile it instead. So in a way, you can also cast this as early as turn 2 to return Greasefang, and also have another trigger to return a vehicle. That is in instances wherein you will be able to fill out your graveyard as early as possible. But there are also options wherein you can have this one as a flashback effect, in which the late game would also matter for returning Greasefang from your graveyard. Now for the last sorcery here, we have the option for Witherbloom command from Strixhaven. It is just 2 to cast sorcery, choose 2, target player mills 3 cards and return a land card from the graveyard to your hand. To destroy target non-creature, non-land permanent with mana value 2 or less, target creature gets -3/-1, or target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. So these are a way also to somewhat fill up your graveyard by milling 3, and also act as a spot removal for any of these targets that are relevant to somewhat slow down your opponent. For instance, you can kill off their mana dudes, or have them lose 2 life, or if needed for us sort of the alpha strike effect to have them go to 0 in their life total. So that in the said, we have just 21 lands composed of several mana fix, Blooming Marsh, Bosidio, Channel lands, several pain lands, Cryptcolos, check lands, Concealed Courtyard, some pathways also, shock lands is also added, and 2 copies also mana confluence is needed to make sure that the mana fix is very relevant and ideal. So we must avoid having to have untap our tap lands as early as turn 1, so that we can be able to get a good curve and trigger with the Greasefang by turn 3. Now for the cyber plan, just a quick rundown on this before we go for the details for the mana value. We have 2 copies of Braven Fulfillment. This is mostly for the mono white humans matchup. Can also good to kill off them for just 1 mana, -4/-4. It's very relevant effect to be able to deal with them. Do you have also 1 copy of Silence? This is more of a sort of a combo effect that can prevent them from casting spells this turn, so that you can in a way also do your Greasefang effect. Additional copy of Abrupt Decay is a sort of a spot removal for non-land permanents with converted mana cost 3 or less. You have also a copy of Recurrent Buster, also a good way to gas up in the mid game up to the late game. 1 copy also of Tear Asunder, so this is also an exile effect for artifact enchantments, and you can also have the option to kick this to exile and target non-land permanent instead. And we have also 2 copies of Manizing Surge. So again, your graveyard shenanigans are also important to deal with against your opponents, maybe for an opposing Greasefang deck or for the Phoenix, blue-red Phoenix shenanigans. And 2 copies of Graveyard Trespasser. It's also the same value. At the same time, you can have a very potent threat that is somewhat hard to kill, while also making sure that you're checking off your opponent's graveyard from any recursion or other strategies that may have based on that. And also we have a 1 copy of Murderous Rider, so an effect to spot removal, and also have a creature that is lifelink. 2 copies of Temporary Lockdown. This is more of the aggro matchup that can basically exile each of them. Also good with Rakta Sacrifice, to can exile their Anvil and Witch's Cauldron shenanigans, and a copy of Extinction Event again for humans, maybe for angels also, and other aggro matchups that's relevant. And of course, a copy of Shouldered again, that is additional copy to have a backup plan for your post-sideboarded matchups, in which you would really rely on recurring your vehicles as early as possible if they have their sideboard against you, that can basically deal with your graveyard. So that's part for the sideboard line up. We have also some mana curve here. It's basically around 3, hence the mana total lands is just 21. You can have here that is about 16 for 2 mana value and 6 for 3 mana value. So you can basically work your way up, casting your first turn, second turn, and just hold Greasefang to cheat out your hard casting high cast vehicles into the battlefield. For the color distribution, we have white 18, black is 24, and green is 15. But producers somewhat equal on this: 15 for black, white producers is 12, and green producers is 14. And last but not least are your tokens. We have only 4, surprisingly. Angel token from the Paralelion, Cat token from the Estica's Chariot, Pilot again for Bankbuster, Treasure of course is produced by the regular Bankbuster. So I guess that's about it for this. If you want to check on the coverage, there is a Twitch link which I will also share in the description box below, on the coverage of the day 1, day 2, up until the top 8. I think as of this recording, they're already ongoing with the top 8 or top 4 of the Japan-Korea Championships Cup Final Cycle 3, and they're also going. I think there's still other decks that are composed. There are vehicles. There are also mono green. Let's say the mono green devotion, and also similar top tier decks that also made in the top 8. You can also check the coverage on the Gmali if you have the extra time to do so. So I guess that's about it, guys. Abzan Greasefang again. I'm making sure that I can see a similar deck list in this in our upcoming Friday Night Magic Pioneer tournament in our local game store. If you wish, if you've also seen a build that has quite adopted this Japanese tech, let me know in the comments below what you think and what would be your assessment on the performance of this build. But not only having in the top 8 of the Champions Club, but also performing in your MTG Arena or MTG Online daily grinds. Again, guys, thank you for watching this video, and see you on the next one.